If you live outside the United States and wondering whether you can become an enrolled agent, the answer may surprise you because the biggest issue is not where you live, but it is whether you understand the process. In this video, I'll explain whether you can become an enrolled agent from outside the US, what the exam pathway looks like, what changed in 2026, what practical barriers you need to know, and how to think about this credential if you're an overseas accountant, career changer, or non US professional. By the end, you will know whether this path is realistic for you and what your first steps should be. I'm Vilma Soloria, an Australian CPA and IRS enrolled agent with over 15 years of US Australia cross border tax experience. I know what it feels like to build a professional tax career from outside the traditional US pathway, and I also know that the enrolled agent credential can look confusing when you are not based in America. So today, I want to make this simple and practical. Let's use a simple five-part framework. Number one, what an enrolled agent is. Number two, whether you can become one from outside the US. Number three, what changed in 2026. Number four, practical barriers to plan for. And number five, your first 90-day roadmap. An enrolled agent is a tax professional authorized to represent taxpayers before the Internal Revenue Service. The IRS describes enrolled agent status as the highest credential the IRS awards. Enrolled agents are federally authorized tax practitioners who have rights to represent taxpayers before the Internal Revenue Service, and they must meet continuing education and ethical requirements to maintain their status. That means that the enrolled agent credential is not just a study certificate. It is a professional tax credential connected to US federal tax practice. Most people become enrolled agents by passing the special enrollment examination, also called the SEE. The special enrollment examination has three parts. Part 1, individuals; Part 2, businesses; Part 3, representation, practice, and procedures. The short answer is yes. Living outside the US does not automatically stop you from pursuing the enrolled agent path. The IRS pathway focuses on the exam, application, suitability, PIN requirements, and maintaining the credential, not whether you physically live in the United States. But here is the important distinction. Being allowed to pursue enrolled agent credential is one thing. Being ready to build a US tax career from abroad is another. That means you need to think in two layers. Layer one, can I take the steps to become an enrolled agent? Layer two, can I build the skills and opportunities to use the credential properly? Do not confuse those two. Some people get excited about the credential, but they do not think about the career skills behind it. The enrolled agent credential can open a door, but it does not replace real tax knowledge, practical experience, communication skills, and professional judgment. What changed in 2026? This is important because many older videos and articles may now be outdated. For 2026, the IRS selected PSI Services as the new provider for the special enrollment examination. The IRS enrolled agent news page says registration and scheduling for the 2026 enrolled agent special enrollment examination test cycle are open through PSI. The IRS frequently asked question also states that international testing for the special enrollment examination is available remotely only, with no in-person international testing. Overseas candidates can schedule online or contact PSI's International Call Center. So if you are outside the US, do not rely on old prometric information without checking the latest IRS and PSI guidance. Your exam planning in 2026 should be based on the current IRS instructions. Now let's talk about the part that people often skip. Practical barriers you need to plan for. Even if you can pursue the enroll agent path from outside the US, there are practical barriers you need to prepare for. If you are outside the US, you may not be familiar with US tax concepts like filing status, dependents, standard deduction, itemized deductions, Form 1040, Schedule C, refundable credits, self employment tax, and IRS representation rules. So, you may need more context than someone who has already worked in US tax preparation. That is not a reason to quit. It just means that you need to build foundations properly. Passing the enrolled agent exam is a major achievement, but it does not automatically mean you are ready to prepare or review complex US tax returns without supervision. This is especially important if you are outside the US and hoping to work remotely for US tax firms. Firms may still ask, do you understand tax software? Can you prepare work papers? Can you follow review notes? Can you communicate clearly? Can you meet deadlines? Can you identify when something is outside your skill level? This is why your goal should not only be, I want to pass the enrolled agent exam. Your better goal is, I want to become a competent beginner in US tax. If the exam is remote for international candidates, then your setup matters. You may need to think about internet stability, webcam, quiet room, ID requirements, scheduling across time zones, and remote proctoring rules. Do not leave this until the exam week. If you live outside the US, your exam logistics need to be part of your plan from the beginning. Barrier 4, career positioning. This is the big one. If you are an overseas accountant, do not position yourself as I passed an exam. Please hire me. That is too weak. A stronger positioning is I have accounting experience, I am building US tax knowledge, I am pursuing the enrolled agent credential, and I am developing practical tax preparation skills. That sounds more serious. If you already have experience in accounting, bookkeeping, payroll, finance, audit, or compliance experience, those skills may still help you. You just need to translate them into US tax relevance. Step 5. Here is how I would approach your first 90 days. Your goal in the first 30 days is clarity. Learn what an enrolled agent is, check the latest IRS guidance, understand the three exam parts, research PTIN and exam registration requirements, decide whether the enrolled agent credential fits your career goals. Do not rush into buying everything. First, understand the path. Days 31 to 60. Choose your first exam part. For many beginners, Part 1 individuals may feel more familiar because it connects to individual tax returns. But your best starting point depends on your background. Once you choose, create a weekly study schedule. Do not study randomly. Use fixed study blocks. For example, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 hour. Saturday, 2 or 3 hours. Sunday, review and practice questions. That gives you structure. 61 to 90 days. This is where you start separating yourself from people who only study exam questions. Begin learning practical US tax basics. How Form 1040 is structured, how filing status works, how dependents are claimed, what Schedule C is, how common income types flow into a return, and what documentation tax preparers need. You are not trying to become an expert in 90 days. You are building practical context. Let's have a look on real example. Let's say there is a person named Ravi. Ravi is an accountant outside the US. He has experience with accounting and financial statements, but he has never prepared a US tax return. He hears about the enrolled agent credential and thinks, maybe this can help me build a US tax career. If Ravi only focuses on passing the exam, he may still feel lost when he sees an actual Form 1040 or receives a client document checklist. But if Ravi follows a structured plan, his path becomes clearer. In the first 30 days, he confirms the enrolled agent pathway and checks the current IRS exam information. In days 31 to 60, he chooses his first exam part and builds a study schedule. In days 61 to 90, he starts learning Form 1040 basics and practical tax workflow. After 90 days, Ravi may not be an enrolled agent yet, but he is no longer confused. He has direction. He has a study system. And he has started building the practical foundation that can make the enrolled agent credential more valuable. So, can you become an enrolled agent outside the US? Yes, it can be possible, but do not treat it like a shortcut. Treat it like a serious professional pathway. Your location may not be the biggest barrier. The bigger barriers are confusion, inconsistent study, weak practical skills, and unclear career positioning. If you solve those, the enrolled agent path can become a realistic and valuable direction. If you're outside the US and seriously considering the enrolled agent path, I created a free enrolled agent career change roadmap to help you understand the exam, the career pathway, and the first practical skills to build. You can download it in the link in the description. If you want practical guidance on the enrolled agent exam, US tax skills, and building a career path into US tax, subscribe to Enrolled Agent Career Launch. This channel is here to help you move from confusion to clarity. You do not need to live in the US to start thinking seriously about a US tax career, but you do need a clear plan. Start with the pathway, build the study system, then develop the practical tax skills that make the credential useful. If you are seriously considering the enrolled agent path, watch the video Is Becoming an Enrolled Agent Still Worth It in 2026? I'll see you there, and here I am cheering for your success.